Hey, more bike stuff. Today I am starting the collaboration with Weathered Garage. I'm going to strip my bicycle down to the bare frame and I'm going to send it to him. Tomorrow he's going to start to prepare it, and Tuesday he's going to do a custom paint job for me. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. So that's what this video is about. But first, I don't have a bicycle repair stand, so I need to kind of make one to help me take the bike apart without driving myself crazy.
With these simple bits, I wanted to make a very rudimentary bike stand. My 2-lay carry rack, an old tow hitch and a bit of timber. It really just needed to hold the bike off the floor for me to be able to work on it on my own.
It's a little bit high, but I can adjust that at a later stage. I just really need to get cracking. And I don't think that's bad for having 3 ingredients.
Now, I'm not too bad at taking things apart, and in fact, like most guys, I quite enjoy it and seem to have more patience than when I'm putting something together. The frame needed to be completely bare for its new coat of paint, so everything had to come off. I had no system really besides laying all the components out on the workbench and making a mental note of where it all came off. So my lack of experience as a bike mechanic really didn't matter in this instance. The following day I loaded up the frame and drove it over to Shane at Weathered. He's only about 5 minutes up the road. Shane is a very accomplished painter and designer, having worked with some pretty huge brands over the years, doing custom paint jobs for their sponsored athletes. So I'm quite chuffed he was keen to paint my little old bike. With a ton of colours to choose from and a completely blank canvas, I was unsure which direction to go. Although I knew I wanted something subtle and somewhere along the sort of green spectrum. So we started playing around with some white base coat and candy green. The next step is to clean the frame with some benzene and flat it down for the new paint to have a good surface to adhere to. And then a filler primer goes on, after which a black base coat before applying the actual base coat. Now, I'm not sure what to call this color that we mixed, as it certainly didn't turn out green, but more of a turquoisey, baby blue kind of thing. And since I have 2 young girls who are obsessed with unicorns, I'm going to name the color Unicorn Poop in honor of them.
They're good at pooping.
It then had to be masked and painted again with a slightly lighter version of the same paint. This creates layers in the paintwork so that once the stickers or the masks are removed, it reveals the darker coat underneath. Instead of a solid color frame, we chose to do a little urban camo on the top tube to give it something unique and show that it's a custom paint job. This is the great thing about having a unique one-off paint job. There's not another one like it anywhere in the world. After the second lighter coat and all the masking was removed, Shane gave it a little extra texture with a strange technique of spattering the spray gun, making little drops of paint. Another subtle touch which I absolutely love. Then it was time for the clear coat, and this stuff is mega death to anything with a lens, so I only got a couple of shots before legging it out of there and packing my cameras away. A nice twist to the top tube is that we wanted to play with a matte clear coat to be used as the third color of the camo pattern. I think this looks insane and it adds a very unique touch to the paint job. Shane posts all of his creations on Instagram, and you can follow him to see some more beautiful custom paintwork at Weathered Garage. A tool company called Tork heard I was doing this bike build and offered to let me test out their new bicycle repair stand. Now, in South Africa, where park tool products cost more than most bicycles, this is a great alternative. So as quickly as my bicycle bodge stand went up, it came down and was replaced by this. It has everything you need on a basic bike stand, including a little nifty magnetic tool tray. And I think we can agree this is a huge upgrade from our current work stand. The next phase of the project is the real test for me, as I've never built a bike up from the bare frame before. And let's just take a second here and appreciate this bare frame. Now, the thought of just handing this bike over to my local bike shop and knowing it would be done correctly had definitely crossed my mind, but that's no way to learn, and also, what's the point of making a bike workshop for myself? I only had limited tools, so I knew I'd need help eventually. And because I had purchased a new upgraded fork for the bike, I didn't want to screw it up. So I headed over to the bike yard in town, and they agreed to help me with the fork. This is a typical example of a bike shop run by bike enthusiasts, and their passion really shows. The jobs I didn't feel comfortable doing was setting the crown race, trimming down the steering tube, and inserting the star nut for the top cap. They had all the right tools for the job, but more importantly, the experience to get it done fast and correctly. Back at HQ, I could now get cracking with installing the fork. I watched an extremely helpful video on the GMBN YouTube channel, which gave me the confidence to put the fork in correctly. If you're into mountain biking at all, you should definitely follow their channel. I'll link it below. I was making great progress with the build and already had the derailleur and chain on, but for some reason I had the bright idea to service the shifter. Not such a great idea, it turns out. Springs just started dislodging and shooting out, leaving me with a bunch of pieces, so I gave up. The next morning I was determined to put the shifter back together, so I turned to YouTube and found a video by some Eastern European guy and tried to follow along without understanding a single word. Turns out I speak fluent Polish because I put the shifter back together and it actually works. The last few details were coming together, and it turns out, by pure chance, the only cable end cap in stock matched the dust cover on the new fork, and the fork seal matched the color on the frame. All I had left to do was to index the gears. Again, a great tutorial can be found on GMBN's YouTube channel, and do a quick bounce test. Check that the sag was correct, and there you have it. My new old bike with its amazing new custom paint job and these insanely beautiful Öhlins RXF36 Evo forks, which are a huge upgrade for this old Trek Roscoe 8. I'm really pleased with it, and I've also learned a ton from doing this project. I cannot wait to get out and ride. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. Please be sure to subscribe and click the little bell to stay up to date for new videos. Also, please consider sharing it with a friend if you think they'd enjoy it too. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one.